I'm here with Jacob Pearson from Legend Story Studios. Jacob, can you tell me what's happening this weekend?
Sure. This weekend we have one of the biggest premier events in the Flesh and Blood world, known as a calling, right here in Melbourne. Beautiful city, great place to be. We're looking at almost 300 players here for this weekend's main event, which is an absolutely awesome turnout for the Asia Pacific region. Basically a bunch of people coming together to play great games in the Flesh and Blood, which is what we're obviously all about.
We care a lot about competitive play. We have our $1 million Pro Play series that goes each year. We have national championships in over sort of 35 countries around the world. We have lots of things like calling events, which range from $10,000 to $30,000 prize money. We have pro tours and all the way up to our world championships.
Can you tell us a little bit about the tournament and pro scene that Flesh and Blood has?
At the moment, I feel like it's still growing, but we definitely do have some dedicated players who are willing to just travel to wherever these big events are. We try to make sure that everything is accessible, and we give hopefully we give proper prize payouts to all the players. And we're always in the dev team, we're all competitive, so we're all pretty much just keeping an eye on it and seeing what wins, what doesn't win. And sometimes it does dictate how we develop some cards, but not all the time.
Kieran, can you tell me a little bit about your role in designing and developing Flesh and Blood?
Absolutely. So I'm one of the game developers. So I'm almost what you'd call an intern or product tester. So I work with an absolutely fantastic group of people to do our best to help create these amazing products and make sure the cards come out somewhat evenly balanced so people can play a whole lot of different decks.
Our primary role is just making sure that everything is fun, is balanced, the flavor makes sense, and we're just making sure that people outside the company enjoys the game as well.
I got my dream job. I'm a game developer at Legend Story Studios. So that means that I get to design, help design, play with, test the social play experiences, and just be a big part of what makes this such a great and exciting game. It really, really is. I can wake up in the morning, I get super excited to go to work every day and create these experiences that I get to see so many people, especially coming to events like this, get them sit down and enjoying the things that I've helped create, which for me is just an absolutely mind-blowing experience, and I wouldn't do anything else.
People aren't as familiar with Flesh and Blood. What makes it unique in sort of in the TCG realm?
Yeah, sure thing. So Flesh and Blood, unlike a lot of other TCGs, uses a very unique resource system, which we call the pitch system. So basically any card that you would use as a resource will be seen again as part of your deck as the match progresses.
One really great thing about Flesh and Blood is the sort of slightly lower variance compared to other card games. One of our pillars is that every card matters.
Which basically means that every card in the game counts, every micro decision you make counts, which leads to a very, very high ceiling on skill cap, and a lot of, it gives their players the ability to really express why they are good at the game, and all the little decisions, making a one of in a deck, you'll always see that card at some point during the game, unless we're playing a very hyper aggressive sort of matchup. And it just means that there's so many more tools given to the player in question, which is for me personally, I absolutely love disgusting combo decks when it comes to any card game. And Flesh and Blood really lets you break into the very just intricate parts of most TCG systems that can only be seen in more casual formats in other TCGs, which is something I really love about the competitive scene for Flesh and Blood.
You're able to pick up a hero and be able to just resonate with it, and you're that's who I feel like I should be playing if I was in the actual combat. And then being connected like that, and we're allowing them to be able to just play those heroes in the events that they want to play in, from casual to competitive level, unless it's Living Legend, in which case in a different format. But Kitchen Table is always it's cool, it's sort of a mix of card games and a little bit of D&D, where you're role playing as the hero themselves.
Legend Story Studios is based in New Zealand. Obviously, the game's all around the world now. Is there any sort of New Zealand sensibility that comes through the game? Do you think?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, the game design itself is like a very standard, like Western sort of old school TCG experience, which is like one of the first sales pitches for Flesh and Blood, really, when it was first starting. But in terms of like some of the Kiwi mana, as we like to say, that comes through in the game, it's definitely just about putting in the hard work. Like there's a lot of like hard yakka is like what Kiwis like to call it. And this game really rewards that more than anything else. Playing rep after rep after rep, you will learn something every single game. I was terrible at this game when I first started playing, back when the Alpha Welcome to Raid launched in New Zealand. And I spent literally thousands and thousands of hours just playing game after game after game. And I ended up becoming the best player in the world, the highest ELO rated player for a time before I joined Legend Story Studios as a game developer. And like honestly, you can really see the effort that you put into the game will reward you for that effort, more so than any other card game I've ever played. And I have a really strong background with playing card games, but after coming back from other card games to Flesh and Blood really reignited my passion for like the TCG communities and ever. And like all my friends that I have now, the people who I hold dearest to me, were all like made through the game. So it really does have a special place in my heart.